and just even getting down to like the minutia, topography of each map. It's going to have character bios with their original personality profiles and pose sheets like you saw earlier, the cycling Crash images. We've got dozens of those for Crash. We've got Dr. Cortex, we've got everybody in there. It's got play techniques and secrets at each level, lots of really exciting stuff. And again, this is just a reproduction from the best available sources. We have one of Charlotte's, her very own, her personal property, her original Bible from which we're creating high resolution scans. And this is going to be available in March of next year.
All right, it's called The Crash Bandicoot Files, How Willy the Wombat Sparked Marsupial Mania.
Exactly. Yeah, Willy the Wombat.
And is this the cover?
That's the cover. Yep.
All right, so check that out, The Crash Bandicoot Files. I think it's so cool that this stuff is being archived because, I'm a historian of games and cover games for so long, and I think so much is lost about the early days of how these games were made. It's awesome that you guys are documenting this. Some of you guys might be in to check it out. Next year. Thank you again. That is really cool. Now let's talk a bit about the story and cinematics of Crash. Of course, incredible gameplay, but these characters, Idris Brio, it's like Crash, so many fun characters that I remember as a kid playing, and they stuck with me. So for the original Naughty Dogs, the OG Dogs, how did you develop the story for the original game? Because it sounds like you were an artist or you're a programmer. So now Naughty Dog's known for epic Neil Druckmann stories, etc. But back then in the day, how did you was programmers and artists making the story? So how did that work? How did you come up with the story and the characters?
Well, it's a boy loses girl, boy saves girl.
But there's so many fun characters, though. Was it just...
Boy needs to encounter difficulties along his path of seeing
And, you were doing cinematics, like 3D cinematics back in the day, and again, looked primitive, but in the 90s, this was insane that you guys are doing these 3D cinematics, voiceover, it's and this is, I think, some of the original art of some of the concept pieces. And then you guys can describe what we're seeing here, but you did accomplish cinematics.
Yeah, it was really basically handled by Jason Rubin almost single-handedly.
Wow.
Obviously everyone built the assets for these things, but one of the things that kind of goes underreported when we talk about the legend of Crash and why everyone kind of loves him as much as they do is that Jason Rubin, who again, before the beginning of this game, was art of Naughty Dog. It was everything art related. That meant animation, that meant level design, that meant everything on every game that he and Andy made since they were 12 years old, making these games out of their garage.
Yeah.
He taught himself during production on the fly how to animate in a Disney/Warner Brothers style of animation.
Yeah.
It's an incredible feat. He's one of the best artists I've ever encountered in my career, and also ran the company and all this stuff, really good businessman. But he had this book called The Illusion of Life, which was talking about Disney techniques of animation, and he literally had the book on his desk and was teaching himself while we were making this game how to animate in that classic style. Just mind-boggling to take these 500 polygon things and then distort them and stretch them in these expressive ways that are those animations that we all love so much, that we remember fondly.
Wow. And Charlie, Justin, thinking of kind of the art, and as you can see, these are, again, 20 years ago, this level of sort of cinematic detail, it's amazing what you guys accomplished. Again, we're dealing with mostly games that were in 2D back in the day, or full motion video, but this is full, real-time CG that, again, holds up pretty well 20 years later. Tell us about the process of doing this. You guys were obviously texturing, lighting these things, but these, I assume, were built sort of in Silicon Graphics machines and then kind of rendered out. This is real-time placement, but what was the process of actually building these things and making sure they worked?
As far as the cinematics?
Yeah.
that was probably the easiest part of the game to do.
Okay. Really?
It was probably done over a couple of weekends where, we're in the middle of between levels and Jason would just knock the stuff out, just fairly
So
easily.
he'd do the camera, he'd do that, like, wow.
Yeah, no,
And were there storyboards, or how would you do it? Or was it just like, just making it?
Excuse me?
Were there storyboards for like what you
Oh,
shot?
no, not at all. I mean, most of the time we did talk about story. It'd be like at 2 o'clock in the morning after eating Jerry's Deli.
Right.
Right? We would have the half-gallon sodas because that's the only way we're going to stay up.
Yeah.
So it was basically, I mean, obviously it was Jason and Andy who were not about it, but it was pretty collaborative as far as what we were doing. Story, everyone had the ability to add things. I mean,
Yeah.
who would listen to an IT guy to actually come up with Aku Aku? That was one of the designs I came up with. And so we were all able to collaborate. I mean, probably one of the funnest times of my life to actually work on Crash Bandicoot.
Wow.
I mean, the stuff we were doing, and I mean, we were afraid. I mean, we were doing an action character platformer at the time where, Japanese companies were the ones coming out, Sega, Nintendo. So we did actually feel a little pushback when we came up with Crash, because like, what's a Western developer making a character action game? But, preserved and did pretty well.
It's so cool to see this again. And again, it's amazing how well it holds up 20 plus years later. So tribute to you guys and the amazing work.
Well, I was going to say also, one of the reasons Justin was saying the cinematics were one of the easiest things to do is because it's the only time in the game when we control exactly what's being seen at any given time. The rest of the game, it's just mostly going in, either into or out of the camera on side scroll, but you still, the character can go around a bend and you don't know, where people are going to be looking. So this, we could just orchestrate exactly what we want, which is, I guess, true of any cinematic, but that's why it was the easiest part. And it also, it was the last thing finished.
Yeah, the reality of it was we were working in basically complete isolation for the vast majority of development of this game. So we weren't on Sony's radar at all. We weren't part of Sony.
Didn't you edit, or I think I remember like you edited some tape or something of like gameplay and then got sent to Sony?
It looked like this when we sent it to Sony, and they were like, oh my gosh, what do we have on our hands? I mean, we sort of secretly said, let's create a mascot.
Yeah.
But they never asked us to make a mascot, and they never intended for us to make a mascot. But this mascot sort of landed in their laps, and they were very, very excited about it. So the cool thing, and I think goes back to what Justin was saying, is we were making this game. There were 7 of us making this game with basically no oversight by anybody at all. There was no one saying it should be more like this, or here's our studio notes for it. It was nothing. We just invented this thing and made the thing that we were passionate about, and ideas would come from anywhere, just, hey, how about if we did this? How about if we do this? And we would have these, again, holding the collar and saying, I feel strongly or I don't, and it just, I think that's what people, at least that's what I remember, is people kind of responding to the passion that we had to make this thing.
So cool. Now that was 20 years ago. Now let's talk about today and VV taking these incredible cinematics and updating them to today's technology. I guess tell us a bit about the process, JP, of taking, now we do have storyboards inspired by the original game. So again, I'm sure you, like I, were amazed at what they did back in the day. So how do you sort of keep the spirit of that, but also update it to today's technology?
Yeah, super interesting because these guys, obviously, you can hear in the panel here a labor of love for them and a game that they were super proud of. And they laid the blueprint. It was there, so we didn't have to change anything. We didn't have to go in and reimagine everything in the cinematics. We actually had it in front of us. And so like what these guys have all talked about and what Charlotte referred to as like a family sitting down and talking about ideas, I brought the entire cinematics team together in a room and we watched all of the Crash cinematics and we talked about them and we broke them down by scenes. And talked about like, is there things now that we can do to update these, to make them flow a little bit better, to present the characters or give a little bit more character development that maybe they were hindered by back in the day because they were doing vertex animation, and we are not now. And so we can show off the full performance of some of these great characters. And so, you know, some of the beat boards here, it's literally like we took the images from their cinematics, and then we talked about ideas of how to connect them maybe a little bit better, how that flow would actually come to a little bit better. And again, Blueprint was there. It was really just, let's now show these characters off in all their glory of what we could do with our engine and with the time and the team that we actually had to dedicate to it.
So cool to see you guys kind of expanding on that, building on it, and then I know it led to some really cool sort of tests, right? Of kind of like how this and the expression and everything, right?
That's right, and then the style, this here was an early Crash, kind of got a proxy rig, and it was an early animation test that one of the cinematic leads did on here to kind of set the tone for what we were trying to hit. And we referred to the Bible all the time because as developers we had that and we were flipping through it all the time. We tried to gather as much inspiration as we could from that Bible and try to think what they were thinking about 20 years ago. And Taylor mentioned Looney Tunes. We were fully hoping that that's what their inspiration was 20 years ago, was Looney Tunes. We looked a lot at Roger Rabbit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit as well, in that 2D aspect. And so this was the first test that we kind of put out and was like, all right, this is, we're really starting to catch on to, I think, some of the feel and the vibe of that inspiration current, bringing that up current.
So cool. Yeah, you can definitely feel that coming to life, and then that obviously builds into here, the remastered cinematic, which, we just saw the original. Now here it is 20 years later. So, I mean, how deliberate were you in trying to match the exact shot? You took some creative inspiration, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the essence of the shots themselves, absolutely. Like, we did not want to change because we understand how much fans know these, know these cinematics as well. So there wasn't, we just tried to update them and bring them, the flow together and make those performances just kind of pop out a little bit more cinematically. Take the care and the love and the time to put into that and to really think about how maybe they would have updated it now. And really it was just about having a ton of fun and realizing what we were working on here, which was an amazing opportunity for VB and the team, I think.
So cool. We need the Crash animated show. It's amazing to see what you guys are able to do with that, which is fantastic. So great job. I think that's something that, when I started to see some of those cinematics, it's clear you weren't just uprising the old stuff like this, but you guys were really going in, and I think all the fans appreciate the care and attention to detail that you do with cinematics. All right, so let's move on to another topic here. Level design and gameplay. We all have our favorite levels from the original Crash, of course, Crash 2 and 3 as well. This is some stuff that no one has seen before. I hadn't even seen it until I got this preview of this deck. Talk about how the levels were originally designed 20 years ago for Crash. Guys, you want to talk us through some of the stuff we're going to see on how you guys conceived of levels way back in the mid-90s?
Sure. Well, these are, concept art that we had made and that we made ourselves, trying to, our big thing was we wanted density. We wanted these really incredibly dense environments that looked like nothing you'd ever seen before. We talked about Crash being 500 something polygons. The entire frame, at any given moment, we had at absolute maximum, there were 3,000 polygons that you could see. And so that's why the camera is on a rail, because the game engine would pre-compute from every single frame exactly what you could see, and it would dump every single polygon that you could not see. So it actually looks like probably, double or triple what the number of polygons we could have on the screen. But that was our gambit. So we had to make these levels in a way that you couldn't see for miles and miles and miles. So you had to have turns, and the path had to go up and down, had to be bumpy and stuff because it would hide the different polygons so that it would look more dense. And this is something that...
What is this, Taylor?
Well, Well, Justin actually rescued this from the Naughty Dog server. It was buried in some folder somewhere. It had to find an old version of Photoshop that could open it with a plug-in. This is something that I created 22 years ago. So this is Insanity Beach. This is the actual level laid out, like how I would work on these levels. So if the Silicon Graphics workstations we worked on were not powerful enough to load an entire level, we actually thought when we were building these levels, we would just build a level and then you could, kind of adjust it. But we realized very, very early on that was an incredibly untenable way to work. So we built what we call chunks. And a chunk, as you can see on the left, I have a little key. I made this for myself as a way to catalog the different chunks we had. So we would have chunks that would go straight, we would have chunks that would go to the left, to go to the right, would go up and go down. And I could pull up these various chunks that were built by Bob Raffi and by Charlotte and by Justin and lit and made look pretty, and I could lay them out in a particular pattern, and then the game engine would take those chunks and assemble them into the final level. So what you have here is you can see an example of how I would actually work, and there's little pixels that are in the path, like so those.
So it starts at the bottom and moves up?
Yeah, so the yellow ones were the beach chunks, and then that little weird, strange shape was the cliff going up from, and then the reason why it's red from that point forward is that was at a higher elevation. I would set a RGB value, and that is how the engine would know what sort of height to drop these chunks at, so that they were now on the right height. And then all of the undulations in the path, the actual just organic nature of the path, was just me kind of taking a brush and drawing shade, and if it was a black pixel, it would push the path down, if it was a white pixel, it would push the path up, and that's how you get those organic undulations. And this is literally...
So you had to build it in Photoshop, like pixel by pixel.
Yeah, I would work in graph paper at first, and then I would make a Photoshop version of this, and then this image on the right actually would tell the computer which things to grab and to lay out into the final level. And as Justin said, it would take hours and hours for these things to be laid out. But you can actually see in there's actually, I think, markers for where the turtles are and for where the crabs are and all that kind of stuff.
Insane. Now here's the actual level back 22 years ago. So it's amazing that Photoshop file then turns into this. But the computer knew what to do. And then so if you wanted to move a turtle, you're like, oh, let's move this to a little bit later level. You had to go back to that Photoshop file and move that pixel?
Correct.
And then recompile the level?
Correct.
That just shows, like,
hours and hours.
Yeah, it's like today, let me just grab the editor and move this, but that process is amazing. It's like move a crate. It's like, oh, we should move this behind that tree. It's like hours to recompile it. It's amazing what you guys were able to do.
It was a little difficult to do iterations. Let's just say that. So we did try to start computing against other SGI computers right towards the end of the project, where we can actually now take an hour to process.
Yeah, exactly. It was tough, but and that's why we were there for 16 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Wow.
It was, that was part of the deal. And as you can see, the entire game is built on a 1 meter grid. Each crate is a meter, and each path was a meter. So the paths, I think, were 6 meters wide. The chunks were 6 meters deep, and I had different chunks that would go up to the right and go to the left. And I could say this is where a pit is going to be. It was crazy. And again, this whole tool was built out of necessity. We didn't think this is the best way to make this game. This is the way we had to make the game.
Yeah, it's incredible what was accomplished back in the day. So let's talk now about VV taking this data and making the game with today's technology. That's one thing that when I first started talking to this panel, I got really excited about, was to learn, what these guys were able to get from Naughty Dog, from the original game, and how they, managed to recreate it. And it was as Dan and JP told me, it was sort of very handcrafted how they did this. They just sort of take the level and it's like, oh, it works now on PS4. Tell us about that process, Dan. You did get something from Naughty Dog, right? You have these gray boxes almost?
Yeah.
So tell us, what is this? This is so cool. No one's ever seen this before.
Yeah,
What is this?
so I'll first say that, we don't work in Photoshop when making our levels, so we really couldn't use any of that stuff. But actually, Justin got us the original level geometry. So what you're seeing right here is an incredibly early version of the Insane Trilogy. That's not the right Crash. It's not the right handling, it's not the right camera, but that is the exact level geometry from the original game.
So the real data, Justin got off the server, sent it to you guys,
Yep.
and you plugged that into your engine.
Plugged it into our engine, and that gave us, much like we were talking about blueprints from the cinematics, that gave us the blueprints for the level design.
Yep.
Once we had that in place, then we had to, recreate everything else. But we had a guideline, which was the most important part. And so, we'll see the finished product right here. But every single crate, crab, every single piece of gameplay, jump, slide, well, not in this game, the second one there's a slide, all of that had to be recreated then. And so recreation it's a bit challenging, I think, because we had the leg up on the level design, we were able to get our level designers and artists working immediately. But the act of recreating the gameplay itself took a long time. That took the whole duration of the project for us.
Well, I was going to ask about the recreation of the gameplay and things. Remember, play with analog sticks in these games, even though D-pads are there. So, it's one of these things where you have to remember how people played it, but also, conventions have changed about what we expect from games. So tell us about this looks like a side-by-side, so were you comparing sort of timing and jumps and all that type of stuff?
Yeah, no, our team would, build out the gameplay, and we put it in front of some of the hardcore fans on the team, and they'd be like, no, you haven't quite got it yet, so we'd have to go back and do it again. And eventually I got to the point where, we really had to, sit down and do side-by-side comparisons. In this case, we've got a side-by-side comparison of the level.
Yeah.
And we did that just to really nail down the timing. And if we go to the next video, we've even got so far where we had to create specific tools within our engine to be able to analyze the jumping. So that, we really were able to nail down exactly how the original behaved and make, the important decisions about how we were going to make ours feel.
Yeah, that's again, I don't think people appreciate how much you guys had to go in and try and honor the legacy of it, but this wasn't just porting over the code and it happened to all work again. It's this was all created from scratch.
Yep.
Wow. So cool to see.
We had graph paper that showed this exact stuff.
Photoshop graph paper is some fancy tool that is, processing it all well. You guys, I think, did a great job honoring the legacy of Crash. Speaking of, we've shown a couple levels here. I want to quickly go down the panel and ask everyone about their favorite level from Crash. Hog Wild was always one that was fun for me because I was didn't expect it when I was playing it, but older. There's so many great levels. Charlotte, maybe start with you quickly. Do you guys have favorite levels?
I have to say Hog Wild is my favorite too. Just from
Yes.
the music to the humor and the way you die by running into getting thrown off the hog. It's just it's the best.
Love it. Justin?
I agree, Hog Wild's my favorite.
Lillian Quorum. Taylor?
I like Boulder Dash, actually.
Boulder Dash.
It was a big thing. We had big fights about it. That's the one level where you're running toward the camera instead of away from the camera. And we were like, it's never going to work. You're not going to see enough in front of you.
Dude, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Guys, what are you talking about there?
We're talking about our favorite levels in the game Crash. Do you have a favorite level?
I have a favorite level. Everybody, where does my go? The game, get it? That's fun. My favorite, you know what? Everyone did their favorite level here?
No, we're actually only about halfway through. Thanks for interrupting us.
That's all right.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and tell you what my favorite level is.
Okay.
Because there's kind of a level not to say anything about, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Yeah.
It's a level that was put into the game secretly. It was a very difficult level, the most difficult to play. Taylor, I'm looking in your direction. And some super nerds like myself hacked into it and played it. It's called Stormy Ascent. Did you guys know that level?
Stormy Ascent, yes.
Super nerds unite!
We-
And I have a question that I think will represent all of us are getting ripped right here. Why has the game not been released with that level ever? How come we don't think Stormy Ascent? I want to know. I'm going to sit right here with my super nerd friend.
Do you have a reserve? Oh wow, Crash has a reserve seat. Great question, Crash. Well, let's talk about that, Dan. Stormy Ascent. People don't, you may not know the history of it, but Dan, tell us a bit about this. It was a classic level that was, on the disc. Or Taylor, what's the history of this? It was on the disc originally.
Okay, so we already covered that we didn't know anything about making video games. So Stormy Ascent was really hard, and because we didn't know how to make video games so well, we made something that was really fun for us, really hard for us, but basically impossible for the fans. And we had to, at the very last minute, cut the level from the game. But because the game disc was already built and it would have been really dangerous to try to rip the code out, we left it in there. We just kind of commented out. So it's on the disc, but it's not playable because we just determined it's too hard, it's too late, we don't have time. It just lives in there.
But there's a twist, guys.
It is
Check
playable
this
now.
out. Oh.
So yeah, Stormy Ascent was something that we felt pretty strongly that we knew the fans wanted, and our team fell in love with it. It is a very difficult level, and so we said, well, geez, we got to make this and put this out for people to play. So that's what we did, and we've released it. As of this noon, I think, you'll be able to download it on the PlayStation Store. It's going to be free for 30 days, so get it, play it. You're going to die a lot. Like, I don't know why it's your favorite level, honestly, because you die a lot. But,
It's a challenge. All right, Stormy Ascent, free at noon today on PSN. So if you got the game already, you should be able to download it and check it out and try the challenge.
Guys, it will crash. Make it down.
All right, well, very cool. I want to thank all the panelists for joining us. Congratulations. Thank you, Crash. Have a great Comic-Con, guys. We appreciate you coming out. We'll see you soon.